Hey, so I wanted to give some updates, and there aren't any huge updates, but some updates on the, I guess, Trump versus Biden campaign and basically what's happening in America. Now, it seems to be settling down, even though part of the part of the country has basically ceded any kind of like local government kind of jurisdiction. That's kind of still happening, and interesting to see what's going on there. But it seems to be that this could be filtering out. And I've sort of said that this has hurt Trump, and obviously it has hurt Trump. It's clearly hurt Trump. It's visibly hurt Trump. But I have come up with a way for his campaign that is away from this. This will still need to be neutralized. That probably in 20 weeks he can pull off. And what he needs to pull off in 20 weeks is to terrify the public about where the economy is going to turn out in next year. Okay? And I don't mean like the ads for this cannot be focused on what has he done. Like this is going to be useful a bit, but it cannot be focused on like how great everything is. It needs to be focused on how fucking deadly this could be if the Democrats, depending on how high the stakes are in November for the economy. And the primary thing needs to be like, do you feel safe? At the slightest bit of economic mismanagement here, the slightest bit of hesitation, like the Democrats did earlier in the year when they tried to block the stimulus, the slightest bit of hesitation, the slightest thing that's wrong could be the difference between you having a job and being able to pay your rent or being out on the street, right? And your entire community losing all its value, okay? I think that they could probably use a little bit of reasoning to say, I think it needs to focus on forward thinking. And I think that the forward thinking, though, needs to be less of like, I've got a vision and like, what have I done? I think it needs to be like, I will do literally whatever it takes to bring this economy further than it has gone. I have kept it completely alive during COVID, right? By the way, look at the stock market, look at the job numbers as they're coming back rapidly, and I will fucking crawl over glass if I have to do it and do whatever it takes to make the economy return to the greatness it was in 2020 and beyond. And I don't think any kind of arguing with him is I don't think he needs to justify this and say, look what I've done. I just think that gets away from the message. I think it also opens a door for Democrats to argue about that. Not that that's more relevant. I think it just shows a little less certainty. Because I think everyone knows Trump will do anything it takes to get what he wants. No matter how much he's pushing the law or whatever it's technically legal and whether or not he can do it. So they know that he's the kind of guy who'll shut down Congress, the kind of guy who's basically put children in cages, the guy who's done the red line in the sand thing for immigration, the guy who's like, they know this guy, crazy as it is, they know that this guy will fucking move the planet if he thinks to get what he wants. And he is winning on the polls in the economy, okay, very clearly, by like a long margin, I think by like a 22-point margin. They need to force the issue, okay? Now, it's going to be very eerie to see how they can ride out the Black Lives Matter thing here, because they have lost face on this. The Republicans have done something great. They've bipartisanly passed something through. Elizabeth Warren actually came up with this police reform. They've done it through that, and I think someone needs to advise Trump. I'm not sure what the game plan is. I imagine he is listening, but I'm not sure because he's still going on about law enforcement. There's a lot of different directions that could take, but basically it just needs to get to a point where it becomes less of a public issue at that point. The Democrats are probably going to play the angle about, can you handle this fucking unstable nutcase? Because I think where the public is probably thinking at this point is, can we honestly do another 4 years of this fucking guy? Because it's like, I've had enough of this, just give me a change. Which usually takes fucking 8 years of a fucking president before people start feeling like that. Trump has managed to do it in 4 years, which is not surprising. Well, 3.5 years. But I think he can get back into the running here. And the thing is, it's been done before, okay? Dominic Cummings in Brexit managed to pull all this bullshit out, okay? Now, he had a lot of things that he got going for him. He was quite cunning with this, and he exploited quite well technology that other people hadn't caught up to, and like a lot of liabilities, and basically just cheated. But a big thing he did was talk about like this, like $300 million to the EU, and it was total bullshit. Like this whole thing was, like I thought that this was real. Maybe it is real. Maybe there's something like it's real. But put this number on a bus, drove around doing this. He did the same thing with immigration with Turkey. Put the big number, didn't clarify what it meant, and then was like, that is outrageous. And knew it, it didn't matter. Okay, he went all out. In Australia, I think it was 2018 election. It might have been 19? There was a huge upset victory by the Liberals over the Labor. Liberals basically, they've been in power since about 2010, and they've had a lot of leadership changes, which has happened in the Labor Party as well before that. And it's become just a standard thing in Australia, where eventually a leader will get like knifed in the back from his party, and then they'll put a new leader up, and then he'll go for a while. or he'll call an election, get elected, and then he goes for a while, and then get knifed in the back. We had a guy in the Liberals who got knifed in the back, right? And then that guy ran for a while, and then that same fucking leader knifed him in the back and got in power again. Okay? In the space of 8 years, roughly? And then this was all going on, right? The Liberals were going into the election like this. No one had faith in them anymore. And somehow they figured out a way when they were... and people still didn't think that this was happening. It was a huge upset. And they didn't do like anything anywhere near as cunning as what Cummings did. But they managed to sort of frame this issue around how threatening economically the Labor Party could be. The Liberals did this by basically focusing on the economy, and not just in the broad economy, but they looked at all the taxes that Labor wanted to introduce. And this was actually, I think that they had a pretty, I haven't looked into it, but I'm pretty sure it was like a relatively reasonable plan to basically even it out and just have a sort of balanced, they had a plan, right? Basically, and you have to put stuff up and down to have that plan, right? That's just how it is. But he managed to they managed to get the whole thing framed in a way where it was to do with, I think it was raising taxes on effectively baby boomers, because it was on capital gains for your house, right? Which would have hit pensioners, which would have hit the people who were retiring. And they managed to find a way to make the entire fucking like election cycle about this issue, an issue sort of like this sort of area of issue. I think that they also banked on climate change, which was pretty unpopular with a lot of people, except kind of mostly an extreme, like popular but extreme kind of faction of society, but still kind of the wider. But they made it, I think that they managed to get a decent part of the kind of public who still care about that issue, about climate change and about the economy, right? But they also managed to get this capital gains thing and talk about how they were going to basically steal money who have worked their whole lives to get it, okay? And it was so fucking effective, and Labor so weren't ready for it. And there was other stuff that sort of lucked into it, like this, the leader was not particularly popular, but even then, like the leadership in the Liberals was kind of worse in a way, because they just kept going through each other, right? And there's other reasons within that as well, depending on to do with the cabinet and who was working close with the PM. But they managed to do this, okay? It all came together on the last night, right? So this isn't impossible, and it's worked more than once, and it's been built on the same shit. And it's more relevant than ever in America today. Because I don't know how exactly the right way to spin it, but I do know this. It has to be terror, like really, really, really scary. It can't just be like, oh, we're doing this for the economy, we're doing this for the economy. No, it needs to be like, it needs to be basically in a way where right now, the like tolerance of the public is like sick with the issue, which they see as a problem, and it's like an uncomfortable and a kind of scary problem of how unstable this fucking stupid situation is, that Trump is not handling very well, and how that's affecting the country, and just saying we need a break. What they need to do more of, though, is that they need to have an issue that challenges the dynamic of what is more of a fucking problem for society. It is going to, and it would be very easy for them to do this, but it needs to be terror-focused. And if they can do this right, it's good for a few things, because Trump is winning on this issue, because it's just going to distract the public, and it's going to frame the whole thing. If the Democrats get sucked into this and have to try and start arguing for or against this, or especially the fucking media, they're going to lose. Okay? And the reason they're going to lose is because they'll be validating the idea that this even fucking matters. And they'll be doing what Labor did, which was ending up in a fucking situation, and a lot of the media fucking, and you watch this Friendly Jordies cunt, I think you will see how he managed to blame Murdoch media and whatnot. I don't know what extent this is true, probably right, he's a very informed guy. But if you can get the media, whether or not they are aware of this or not, to be basically helping frame this as the fucking issue, it doesn't even matter what they say. It doesn't matter if they say facts. It doesn't matter if they put in expert opinions, okay? They are not going to change the minds of any of the fucking fringe voters about what Trump is doing in the economy when they already know two fucking things, which is one, he did a whole lot of shit with the economy and sort of had a relatively good perception, and two, when he says, I will fucking do whatever it takes, the cunt is telling the truth. For the most part. I think because the other side of him being seen as being this kind of like real rock hard, unstoppable, crazy candidate is that he's gotten that reputation by going all in on a lot of fucking extreme shit and just really pushing hard for it, okay? Which is so fucking fantastic because he uses this entire fucking thing that has caused his fucking character traits to cause him a problem that is going to be hard to get out of, and now he's using that same character traits that causes all that fucking mayhem to basically make it seem like he's the one who can go all out on it. And if they raise the fucking stakes and say basically this November election is like a turning point for the fucking history of the fucking country, and whether or not you're going to go into a great fucking depression, which, by the way, is going to be on a fucking knife edge, And keeping in mind here, look at all and look at the fact in my economy, and this is true. What he can show under my Trump economy, the stock market has not fallen down. It's already going, also already going up again. Fucking jobs are coming back rapidly, right? All this is changing fast, okay? And in addition to this, fucking remember the Democrats. What were they doing when we needed the bailout? Trying to put shit in it and fucking hold it up. Do you remember that? Okay, that would be good to focusing on that's probably not really great, but they're going to have to start doing stuff like that. Raising taxes can be part of it. I think none of this matters, though. I think the only thing that they need to do is force this as an issue. One, force it as the issue, which is the litmus test for whatever the fuck happens in the election. And two, it needs to be so overwhelmingly scary that the public can't focus on anything else. Okay? So any of this other bullshit, which they need to find a way to mediate out, just cannot drive public opinion anymore. Okay? Because the woke are because the Democrats are kind of hostaging behind that. They've managed to fucking unify again. I don't know how, like, somehow. And in that process, they've kind of forced this as the issue, which is basically Trump being unstable. Okay? Well, the biggest terror candidate of the fucking country is the economy going to be safe? Right? And they've got a track record of two things, which is Trump making the economy work well, right? For whatever, however much you want to justify whether he had anything to do with it or not, that's the fucking perception by a long fucking way. And that can be validated by the fact that he's far ahead of Biden in trust for the economy management. And in addition to this, they know that he is the kind of guy who will go all fucking in. And he just needs to keep saying that. I will dedicate myself. I will do whatever it takes. And every single bit of media is about terrifying people, especially in swing states, especially in areas where they think they can move them, about that. And having a basically wider strategy about how the Democrats are going to respond and what their angle is going to be, which they will be able to read as they start doing this. Because the thing is, it doesn't even matter if this looks like a stunt, right? Because at the same time, it is demonstrably true, okay? If they start making up some bullshit, I mean, trying to stick it to Joe Biden, it's like, oh, look how bad of a candidate he is. Look, he can't talk. It's like people know it's true, but it's sort of like insincere. Doesn't really matter. This matters so much, and there is so much groundwork for what Trump can basically talk about with it, and where the country has had, and how his issues and what he's done has affected it. That it's going to be one, it's going to be like get that attention on it, and two, it's going to keep people on that issue. And then, of course, he's on that issue and winning. And if they can spin it back to him being the fucking aggressive crazy man, but that's actually a good thing, which is him without any kind of justification whatsoever, just saying, I will do whatever it takes. I swear, I will crawl over glass about the economy, having all the ads on TV, talking about the economy, showing about the job losses, showing about all this fucking crazy shit, right? Maybe a little bit about the Democrats holding up the shit, but based no words, just visuals of how fucked up the economy is, all the news or whatever. And then basically say, do you feel safe going into November? And then just fucking doing no, not even that. Then going into what Trump is talking about. And then going into Trump, how Trump has dealt with COVID, how the stock market has held up in COVID, how the jobs are coming back. And then talking back again about the fear and talking about how high stakes everything is. And this could be the knife edge, could be the difference between jobs or no jobs, whether or not you can pay your fucking rent or you'll become poverty stricken. And then say at the end of the ad, do you feel safe? Okay? Vote Trump November. Okay? And then just have a visual of him just going, I will do whatever it takes. I will crawl over glass to make sure that this economy is restored to greatness. And like, don't screw up in November. Be careful. Don't screw up in don't screw up in November. Don't vote Joe Biden or vote Donald Trump in, whatever they think is the word framing for that to be the best. But that needs to be the focus, and it's really, really achievable. And it's going to depend on what they can do now. It's still even possible for them to just go for it now, okay, and just pump the ad campaigns in. But they may have to find a way to pacify this issue now. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I think it is tempering out. The reform is changing. It needs to not necessarily be the focus of the media, even though they'll try to milk it. And this is the good news. They've got 20 weeks or 19 weeks or something till the election. But they'll need a good few weeks of the terror campaign that they slowly build up. That probably, actually, even then, that could probably hit at a certain moment. But they need to let this one temper out. Basically, just keep their options open. Say if Seattle gets worse, maybe it gets so bad that they need to restore order. It's still not going to work too well for them. I think even in that situation, Trump would be better off to say, listen, Seattle's out of fucking control. It's getting even worse and worse and worse. At that point, the public are becoming aware of it. you guys, this is great, outsourcing responsibility. You Democrats need to do something about it in your state, okay? Mayor, governor, sort this out now, okay? If you don't sort this out, I'm going to go and sort this out for you. But having the focus mostly on pressuring them to sort it out. Which they will try and fucking do, and all the Pelosi and that party will put that pressure on because they know that this is basically going to be bad if this continues. It's not good for them. Or at least they'll think it's not good for them. And it probably won't be good for them. It will just be chaos, right? That could neutralize the issue, but I think that more the waiting game works, and I think that forcing the issue is going to be the best strategy for them, especially because it's a strategy that he's going to beat Joe Biden on. And at that point, if they're going to start doing the campaign ads about how fucked up Joe Biden is and how he can't talk properly and his brain doesn't work, that actually might have a bit more effect going into November. Okay? Because right now, no one cares. No one's voting for Joe Biden because they think he thinks straight. They're just voting to get him out, to get this sort of back to peace or whatever. But in addition to that, he is hidden as a candidate. Okay? That's another thing in Australia. Australia's relatively recent history they've had candidates do. Just try and hide out to try and stop people seeing this guy's personality. Not as bad as Biden, but... Right? But the thing is, that hasn't worked. And right now, Trump is being stuck to all the issues because he's a president. Obviously, he's the decision maker. That's just how it is. If it was reversed and Biden was on it, he'd be the one copying all the flack. That's just always how it is. But Joe Biden's hidden. But if they go further and further and further into this, I don't even know if they want to waste their money on Joe Biden. They could probably have a crack at saying something like he's not a decisive leader. But even then, none of it's going to matter. The only focus of none of it's going to matter as much as just sort of sticking the issue. Because once they stick the issue, and I know I'm repeating myself, but this is important. I would hope someone would watch this if they actually want to win. They might be planning this ahead, but I could see nothing worse than them ignoring the issues that are going on now, continuing to be pressed by them, having the public just not ignoring those issues, and then try and talk about how great the economy is going to be. Okay, I don't think it's enough. It needs to be. They need to force it's like it's not enough to go, oh, the economy, like, oh yeah, the economy, that's all right. Yeah, maybe the economy, oh, it's kind of growing. Yeah, but they're so unstable. It needs to be like bang, like this, a bomb has just gone off and it's like, holy crap, like did someone just fire a cannon at us? And then it's like, they're on TV, they were standing over there arguing over a game of fucking cards, and now suddenly there's a artillery shell's gone off. Suddenly the order of principles about what you're going to focus on your attention on has changed relatively dramatically. Needs to happen, okay? So that's my strategy going forward. I'm going to keep you posted on updates, by the way, on what is happening day to day with the BLM thing. I'm also going to give you a hit when it comes to it, when I think, the movement has died out in the political gain it will have. Okay, Trump has actually survived it in polls relatively well, considering how badly he has screwed this up, which says a lot. Okay, so he still has a strong base there. So I'm going to keep you an update on what happens there, because I will be there to point out when the tide is turning for Republicans to come back hard, if it even gets there, which it should. I'll also be there to point out at the point where I see it, and it's just about to maybe be at that stage, and what they could use to exploit those holes at that point. But right now, I've got a strategy that will work going into the election without a wither of doubt. Okay, and I've had strategy that would have worked for the Black Lives Matter thing. They didn't do that. Now you can see a huge disaster of how that's unfolded. But this will work. And it will not only work because I'm saying it and it makes sense, it's proven itself to work repeatedly in recent years. And it's exactly how populist type leaders have, or populist campaigns have worked. Not that Australia was like that, but it was similar. It had the same structure it was based on. Okay? And it will be hard for the media to come back from this. Right? Because, as I said, it just needs to be terror. And I think the Trump team are better at trolling, and even Trump sort of is, trolling I mean, they're so reactive as well, the media are. The people who are screaming at the Democrats to do something are so reactive too. It's going to be a lot better for the Republicans to be forcing this issue, seeing that the issue is being forced, and them getting really angry. And it's just like in any kind of situation like that. But in most situations in life, if you're the one who's angry and reactive, you're probably losing whatever the hell game is going on by a long way. Anyway, that's my update here, and I'll keep you posted, so stay tuned.